Okay, well, let's find out where you are looking and get into your pro picks. Pro Picks is brought to you by ATB Financial. With $62 billion in assets, ATB Financial is powering possibilities for more than 820,000 financial services clients in Alberta and beyond. ATB's capital markets arm is a full-service investment dealer that offers investment and corporate banking, sales and trading, institutional research, and risk management. Visit atb.com/inthemoney for more information. Your first idea is Samsung. Tell me why.
Samsung, I don't know what they're best known for. Maybe TVs or phones. Phones are important. So they have their division of devices, I'll call it that. Smartphones, tablets, appliances, etc. They also have a big semiconductor business that's very heavily tilted towards memory. And I know you like memory. And so the memory market is just in a massive crunch right now partially because high bandwidth memory, HBM, that's used for GPU AI applications, is kind of taking up supply of DRAM, which is a kind of memory. Yeah. And so that's making the rest of the DRAM market really tight. And so actually, it's ironic, like HBM is the thing that everyone talks about, but Samsung actually might make more money on the commodity. So these are like memory supporting servers and server CPUs and other things, just more conventional forms of memory.
Stock's already up almost 100% this year. Yeah. How much more upside?
I think we have like 40% upside. I think we're around 11,000 Korean won of EPS fiscal 2026, 13 times multiple. Price target's like 143,000. So that's, call it around 40% upside. So yes, it's moved a lot, but the earnings estimate revisions that I'm seeing right now are some of the most insane things I've ever seen. So
and 13 times earnings, like what is that? Why so low? Is it because it is an international?
Some people will look at the memory stocks on price to book. So I'm looking at it on an earnings basis. Mm-hmm. I think given that we're potentially in a super cycle here, it makes sense to view it through a different lens. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. What were we getting back to? Oh yeah, the earnings revisions. So here's a good data point. Since 3 months ago, fiscal year 26 earnings estimates are up 25%.
Wow.
3 months. And memory prices are going up like every day. So
and that's just on the supply demand dynamic.
Yeah, that's right. It's very tight for some of those reasons. And then we talked about DRAM. NAND is kind of the other side of it, and NAND is a component in solid state drives, which are like more expensive storage. We're getting a little off topic, but I just think it's important. So the most cost effective form of storage is hard drive disks, which are like actual physical moving parts and whatnot. And those are sold out for WDC, they're sold out into 2027. And as a result, people are paying up for the SSDs, which is, again, tightening the NAND market.
What is that? SSD? What is
solid state drives.
Okay, yeah.
Hard drive disks, solid state drives. Yeah. Solid state drives, more expensive. HDDs, more cost efficient.
But sold out.
These are sold out.
So you have
to buy these.
Okay.
That's leading to tightness in the NAND market. And so now you have tightness in DRAM and NAND. Whoops. And so that's basically it. It's very tight all over the place.
You know, I love memory because I've been a loser on Micron until I wasn't. And now what a genius I look like.
Now you can retire. It's great.
I can retire. Well, no, not my $4 that I put into it. Okay, number 2, Take-Two Interactive. Grand Theft Auto, we're playing video games?
I think... Yeah, I'm going to show my nerd again here, and my wife will hate this part, but I think video games are arguably one of the best value in the entertainment arena. So of course, there's lots of competition for attention. We talked about Reels. That's a really tough one to get away from. But video games are more active. They're not passive entertainment. It's more active. But you spend $80, $90 on a game, you could play it for hundreds of hours in some cases. That's a lot of good value. So Take-Two, let's talk about the bad stuff first. So they delayed Grand Theft Auto 6 again for the second time to November of 2026. We were disappointed, but the core business is actually firing on all cylinders, driven by the 2K basketball video game series. There's more to the business. There's some mobile in it as well, but the whole story here is really about GTA 6, which we think will be one of the biggest entertainment properties of all time. So yes, the delay sucks, but we think taking the time to polish this thing that's taken such a long time is really going to pan out for them. And so we're looking for for fiscal year 28, which would capture the full year of GTA, we're looking for 1268 of earnings at a 25 multiple. That's 317 price target. So that's, call it 35% upside.
Trading at around 240. And like, what a hot space. So a couple of years ago, Microsoft buys Activision.
Oh, yes.
Activision Blizzard. And then end of September, this Jared Kushner consortium, I think it was with Silver Lake, they buy Electronic Arts. So like, even if you want to play this in the public markets, where else can you go but Take-Two?
Yeah, that's a good point. You could buy Roblox, but let's not talk about Roblox. I think that stuff highlights the value in the space. And again, it comes back to the value provided for consumers. But I think it's a good business. It feels like it's on the upswing. Feels like the younger generation is very into gaming. And I don't know if this is a hot take but I think it's interesting with all these streaming people on YouTube and all these other platforms that are playing games. Like, I think that helps the whole industry. So I think that's a good backdrop to release GTA 6 into, because it's going to be all over the internet for a long time. It's going to be crazy.
I love this. We are looking for ideas outside of Nvidia. These are, different takes. So we had Samsung, we had Take-Two Interactive, and now your third one is Alibaba. There's definitely an AI play there. But talk to me about why this one has become interesting to you.
I think there's a regime change in China. So in the post-COVID period, if you remember with Jack Ma having some issues with the government and then disappearing, and me being concerned for his whereabouts and whatnot, now he's back. He's back at Alibaba, like in the office working. I think that's a really important signal, because And the US and China are taking very different paths towards AI. I would say the US is like, let's build that God model that we were talking about before. China's more like, how can we use AI to like immediately impact industries and like robotics and automation kind of stuff. So two different paths, but you got to respect China as a competitor. You know, as we saw, just even the DeepSeek threat really hurt the market. But the point being, with the regime change, the government knows that if China wants to compete on the world stage, they need to partner with and enable their companies. And so China needs a domestic cloud champion in the same way that we have the cloud champions in the States.
And Alibaba it's not gone on to make new highs. It's still like half of what it was, for example, in 2020. Is that the opportunity that's an undervalued play?
I think it's undervalued. I mean, I think part of that is what I was saying. It was sort of, China tech was in the uninvestable bucket because of the meddling that was going on. But now it's like, we need each other. We need a domestic cloud champion. Alibaba's cloud business is still small relative to the whole business. Of course, most well known for their e-commerce offerings in China and other places. But we think all indications would be that they're going to continue accelerating with their cloud, and that will be enough to take the stock higher. And it's not expensive either.
We actually got a question about this from Sam Trottier. who asked specifically about Alibaba and its exposure to China, and why not, if you're, look at demographics or trends in Latin America, why not buy something like a Mercado Libre instead that maybe doesn't have the issues that China does?
I've nothing necessarily bad to say about Mercado Libre. I just think this story, China specific, made sense to me because, China is somewhat of a closed market, right? And so they need a domestic champion. They need an AI champion. Alibaba's got really good open source models. Like, you might argue that they're the best overall in the open source world, which is pretty crazy. And then they've got the cloud business. They're kind of trying to build like a full stack solution. So they're offering they're making their own chips. They're going to have cloud. They're going to have software. So I think it's a compelling thing. So I'm not necessarily thinking about the relative geographic regions. It's like these picks were not like, I need something in Korea and I need something in China. They just kind of make sense.
Okay, and since you have price targets for the other two, how do you think about the upside that's left in Alibaba?
It's still very undervalued, and I'll say that this might be a conservative case, but we think they're going to do 1060 in EPS for fiscal year 27. Even at a 21 multiple, there could be some argument if that's high or low, but I don't think it's that high. If their cloud division really takes off, that gives you a price target of around 218. So plenty of upside. Maybe conservative as well.
Trading at $160 per share. So definitely. All right. Thank you very much, Shane. It's been an absolute pleasure.